I may look like I'm 12, but I'm not, I promise. I'm not gonna tell you my age, but I have built over 35 cars over the last 13 or so years of my life. It started with a 1994 Mitsubishi 3000 GT SL, and as of current, the most recent build that I'm working on is a 2023 Nissan Z. The actual build of the car is gonna be over on Martini Works, but for here, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of the story behind why I chose the car and why I love this platform so very much. And no, I'm not talking about Nissan, I'm talking about the design of the Z. Okay, let's go back into it because I got a list, all right? My history of building cars is pretty weird, and my favorite type of build has always sat with a very specific body style. Long nose, short ass, 2 seats. I've always loved that style. I've always been infatuated with it. No matter what I built, I always tried to find a way to have one of those cars, like in the roster, so to speak. And what I mean by that, you'll see iconic cars that have followed this to a T, and almost every single time a company does it well, people love the design. Let me give you a couple examples. Toyota 2000 GT, the Datsun 240Z, the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT, the Nissan Z. I would even argue the Ferrari 812 Superfast, and pretty much any front-engine Ferrari V12 looks like this. They're the best looking cars hands down in terms of just, they look like straight sex. So what does that mean? That means that when I was 19 years old, I picked up a 1976 Datsun 280Z, and it was one of my first major builds that I had ever done. Loved the car, loved what it looked like, ended up painting it like 2 or 3 times, had 2 or 3 different engines in it, 2 different transmissions in it at one time, had 3 different interiors in it, learned how to do electrical systems, it had 4 different exhausts on it at one period of time. I had so many friends help me build this car because I had no idea what I was doing, but at the end of the day, it was my most exciting project I'd ever done before, and I sold it when I moved to Appleton in 2017. The Datsun meant something super special to me, and the whole goal of doing that car was to Americanize a Japanese tuner car. All of my builds have always been like that, taking something from one part of the country of one decade and slapping it into something that it typically doesn't really belong. That's why the Ferrari F430 has more of like a Japanese tuner style to it when you start looking at the bits and pieces that are inside and outside the car. Now, what that means for me is that between the 1976Z and now, I've always wanted another. Since 2017, I wanted to get another car like this because I want to build one again. Now, all that means for you is that I have a particular taste, okay? I got a style, I got a type, if you will, okay? Don't tell my wife. That's such a bad joke, it's not even funny. My wife's hot. Anyway, let's get into it. Originally, I was gonna get a Mercedes-Benz AMG GT like in 2021, and then I quit my big boy job as a CMO and started doing my own business. Aww. So that stopped, and instead we waited and picked up the 2023 Nissan Z. And the only reason and the only way that was possible was because of you guys and gals, so thank you for doing that. It means the absolute world for me. And I kind of want to walk through how I'm going to build this one a little bit different. And I have a couple of the parts right here that I want to show you, because I think this is gonna help make the Nissan Z look like it should. How are we going to build the Z? That's a great question, internet. The way that I've been thinking about doing this is because I wanna do something different. I wanna take what we know and love about Japanese aftermarket brands in the right places, putting them on the car, styling the car with livery and more of the appearance stuff of something from like the Super GT era, something from maybe even into the old rallycross days and off-road rally days of Datsun. I would love to see some of that come into the styling of what the Z will be, because for the most part, I haven't seen a whole lot done there. What I can say is there's a lot of room for activity. The number one thing though that we're gonna change and that we're gonna start with are the wheels and tires. I love the raised forged wheels. I think they look fantastic, but I'm a huge wheel guy. You know I'm not gonna stick with those tucked wheels. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you don't get this wheel spec, you're a weenie. We ended up going with, look at these bad boys. These are Work ZR10s. They're 19 by 10.5 plus 15. They're graphite with like that nice little chrome lip, and they're concave as f. Why did I choose these? The reason I chose these is because of the spoke design. Literally just the spoke design. The concavity is really nice. But if you look at this spoke, you're gonna see that it's got a little indentation here, and then it gets bowed. Like it has a circle area, and then it gets sharp. It's 2 lines. And when you look at it in detail, I think this is gonna complement the Z perfectly, because most of the Z's design is very curvy. So I wanted to give it a little bit more harshness on the side of the car. By giving it some more depth in the spoke design, I'm hoping that will make the side of the car more sophisticated. I'm not reaching, I'm just a fucking nerd. Number 2, this is really important, I'm going with different tires. We talked about this before, but to be clear, these are Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. These are 255/35 19s. We're sticking with 19s. The reason that we're sticking with 19s is because I think 20s are too VIP and 18s are too small for how big the car is. That's my personal opinion, and you can't really get it right with 18s. But the tire itself is gonna be bang on, because we plan on driving the car a ton, but we also wanna be able to take it to the track. We want a lot of longevity out of the tires because we don't wanna just burn them off and just replace them as fast as possible. And the PS4S is the best tire you can get for that purpose. It also features a ton of what we would need to just drive the car around. Like if it rains, we wanna be okay. If we're on the track, we wanna be okay. If we're on the track and we come off the track and we wanna drive 2 hours home, we wanna be okay. And the PS4S is pretty much the top pick that you can get for your car. And I wanna make sure that the stuff we are putting on the car is good stuff, that it's the right stuff, because it matters. I know there are other, you can even say Japanese brands like Yokohama Tire, but I'm not doing that. I'm not buying parts just for the sake of the name. I'm trying to buy parts for the sake of it being the right part for the build, which if you didn't know, we're going to be building this car to be used. We have 2,000 miles on it already. I wanna take it to US Air again. I wanna take it to Road America before the season is over, and I'm gonna take this car absolutely everywhere so you can see if it's actually a good car or not. Because if you buy one and you want to get parts, you can get it over at Martini Works. That's the whole plug of the video, by the way, in case you were wondering. But that's why I chose the Works ZR10s, the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, and I want to give a taste and test on BC Racing and their coilovers. I've only ran Fortunato or AccuAir for the most part, but almost all of my cars are on Fortunatos. So BC Racing wanted to come up to the plate and tell me, hey, run these, run the BR series. We think you'll like them the same, if not more than your Fortunatos, and let us know. So I'm gonna try it and I'm gonna let you know. And I'll probably even swap in Fortunatos in there at some point to see which one is objectively better. But in terms of the design of the car is gonna go after a Super GT style colorway, probably from the 90s. I wanna give the side profile of the car some more sophistication, make it a little bit more complex, give it some more harshness with the wheels, with some aero, with some livery changes, and of course, I'm gonna change some stuff up with the samurai swords and the side mirrors too, I think. And then of course, I wanna get some track time with it. So hopefully you enjoy that story. Let me know if you wanna be a part of it by telling me what you think we can do in terms of inspiration, either on the inside of the car with seats, maybe shift knobs, or exterior. What should we do with a livery, or maybe aftermarket catback exhaust or intakes and things like that? What I can say is if we do not find it and it's not what we like, we might just build it ourselves, because I don't want to cut corners on this one. I really want it to be built for us. I really want it to be built for me, and I want to enjoy the driving experience and the build journey with it. So hope you guys and gals enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we wouldn't have this car without you, so it means a lot. I'm Alex. We'll talk to you later. Adios.